D4 just had their 2-year anniversary with a magnificent event showcasing the lengths Blizz is willing to go through to make their player base happy. In any way, I think the last 2 years of D4 are well due for a review. We'll rank all the seasons up until Season 9 and see what Blizz has been doing well in this game, and not as well. Starting us off, we're starting all the way from the beginning. Season 0, or rather, the D4 launch. Now the thing about this season is that while leveling up, going through the campaign, and progressing your character, this game was fucking great. But once you were approaching the end game, the game started feeling more and more half-assed. We didn't have anything to do except running nightmare dungeons all day long, with tedious objectives, a bunch of off-screen death mechanics, and stupid fucking affixes that didn't allow you to play the game. It was also the season of loot space, where you had to store every single aspect in your inventory or stash, along with the gear you wanted to keep for yourself.
We need more stash help now, right?
Yeah.
And so,
right now.
In
Perfect.
1.1.1, we're going to be adding an additional stash tab for players.
If you played the game up until max level, then you'd have a full stash, inventory, and you had to create several mule characters just to store shit on them as well. Despite this though, I sunk hundreds of hours into the game at this point, did all of the annoying-ass renown, got several characters to 100, and despite its flaws, I thoroughly enjoyed most of it. Or well, at least this part. But other than that, the launch was pretty D for dog shit. There were massive amounts of issues with the game, and in turn, massive hopes for Blizz to deliver some much-needed quality of life, new endgame activities, items, and more. Which brings me over to the absolute low point of D4, Season of the Malignant. Now, this season was a real piece of shit.
4 is a really big game with lots of ways for players.
When we were discussing the theme of the Malignant, we thought it would be really cool to just have
The game be fucking atrocious, LOL.
Not that it was much worse than Season 0, but in the way it was handled. With the season, we got more or less nothing. A stupid new quest and grind for powers, and well, that's about it. The thing is, though, that the way we obtained these powers left everyone pissed off. You had to kill one enemy, wait for a heart to spawn, press it, and kill one enemy again. This is also at the point where D4 got review bombed, going as low as a 2.2 out of 10 on Metacritic, and Blizz pulling in emergency campfires to discuss the drama. Their faces spoke for themselves, looking like me after a night out in Berlin. And why did this happen? Well, shit. In combination with the new season, everything in the game got absolutely obliterated. All the fun builds were nerfed, crit and vulnerable were nerfed to the ground without changing how you actually geared your builds. We got barely any quality of life changes, no real new content, and the most outrageous part, they nerfed leveling and boosting. Which, by the way, took days if not weeks for casuals to complete, running the same dungeon over and over. All in all, this is easily the worst season yet. F for fucking shit, and would never play again. But also S because this is when Para Gaming created his first video. Now, my friends, it's finally time for an actual season. Season of Blood. This is, in my opinion, one of the best seasons yet, if not even the best one. And why is that? Well, let's start out with the content. This is the first season we got any new actual powers, and they're still the most fun ones to date. On top of that, grinding them out was actually enjoyable. You ran these high-density blood harvest events and upgraded them as you went, and that's far from everything we got, because we also got quality of life updates, a whole new boss ladder, and at this point in the game, we were running some of the most fun builds we've ever had. It was the season of twisting blades, hota, balls of lightning, shred, and more. Basically, season of using actual skills rather than having them as a vessel to funnel an aspect. And if that wasn't enough, we also got the first endgame system yet, Abattoir of Zir. Basically, the pit, just way ahead of its time. Sure, it wasn't the most fun endgame activity ever created, but it was something to do. And it was released in the mid-season patch. So when you thought you were done with the season, Blizz pulled you back in. Definitely S for its time, but overall, an A for actually pretty damn good. And when you get a great season, you get a dogshit one in return, introducing Season of Construct. But thing is, the season was only dogshit at the beginning. You had a pet that did absolutely nothing, and an endgame activity, vaults, that were based on avoiding traps. People absolutely hated it. But fear not, as Blizz eventually boosted the living hell out of the pets and nerfed the traps, simply making the vaults a much better version of Nightmare Dungeons. On top of that, we got a new Helltide. This time, a green Helltide, where we farmed the seasonal powers, and a new boss encounter which is yet to this date the best one created in this game. Too bad they deleted it, right? In any way, most people quit the season right off the bat when it sucked, and it didn't quite recover. And trying to salvage the season, we got the Gauntlet. If you joined the game in the last couple of seasons, you may not have heard of this feature, because, well, it was so ill-received that they decided to remove it.
Just no point to play because all the uber unique people that have been playing are going to win. So I'll take my third and let's go back to last Epoch.
It was a feature where you were on a timer, trying to gather as many kills as possible. To do this, you had to map out the dungeon.
Go here, collect, kill the guys. Don't collect the keys yet. I kill this guy. I come here, I go here, I kill this guy. You don't have any keys yet, so you're not gonna take the chest. You go back. Then you're killing this guy, you grab the shrine, you go here, you kill like most of the monsters here. You go here, you kill this guy. Then you're going here.
Maximize your every decision, go full out big dick on speed, and run the dungeon over and over again until you got a good score, or until your brain turned to cottage cheese. Typically, you had a few people creating the perfect map layout, such as Makuna or the German Butthead, and you then followed it rather than making your own, because it was a living hell to do. Probably the biggest failure we've had in D4 so far, but overall, I still deem the season to be a solid D for dog shit. But my friends, it was all worth it, because with the next season we got an entire game revamp, introducing Season of Loot Reborn. This is the season Blizz removed nearly every annoying affix in the game. We got huge quality of life updates in the form of stash space. Once the stacking of aspects were removed, we got the pit, a reworked and mind you, fun Helltide, a bunch of new uniques and unique reworks, and more. This is the season where people said, for the first time, oh shit, D4 is back. D4 good, D4 saved, and whatnot. It truly was a great season in every way. Sure, it had its issues that still plagued the game. It introduced tempering and bricking items and masterworking still in its current form. But it was all good, honestly. Most people didn't mind, simply due to the massive upgrades we got to the game. Personally, I played the Season 4 PTR for at least 100 hours, and then Season 4 itself for hundreds of hours once it was out. Definitely the most fun I've had in D4 yet. I'm giving this season the first S of the list. S for solid season. And when we thought the game was in the right direction, in Season 5 we got the shittiest game mechanic ever made, the Infernal Hordes. Whoa, 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 Mr. Paragaming. I love the Hordes, they're great fun. What do you mean? My man, hear me out. During the Season 5 PTR, this feature was absolutely atrocious. It was unrewarding, had no difficulty and no mob density. I made a video saying that Season 5 would be the shittiest season yet. So were I correct in that statement? No, not at all. Because following the PTR, Blizz changed every single aspect of the Hordes we were complaining about. It became rewarding, and more importantly, fun. In fact, so fun, it became my favorite game feature of the season. And if that wasn't enough, Blizz kept busting out quality of life updates all over the place. Pit bosses got their health reduced, mythic uniques were more easily attainable, and more. And possibly one of the biggest updates of the entire Season 5. Pretty much every unique in the game got reworked, where most became at least somewhat useful. And that's on top some solid uniques and new aspects we got on top of that. This in turn also made the build meta interesting this season, allowing for some serious build variety. Taking Rogue as an example, pretty much every marksman's skill was usable, and everyone's favorite build was on top, the Andariels. Sadly though, that was the last time we saw those builds exist. But overall, Season 5 in my opinion is the best season to date. It was a season where Blizz actually introduced some new shit before heading into minimum viable product territory. And the reason I'm saying that is because the next season should barely be deemed as a season. And I'm talking about the expansion Vessel of Hatred. Here we got massive amounts of new stuff to play with. Probably most importantly, the Spiritborn. In its core, a well-designed class with a bunch of interesting mechanics. Despite this, Blizz fumbled in a massive aspect that pissed off most of the community: the balance. This class was dealing not billions, not trillions, not quadrillions, but quintillions of fucking damage, while all the other classes were struggling at the billions, meaning the Spiritborn were tens of thousands of times stronger than all the other classes combined, speedrunning pit 150s, while the other classes were struggling at 100s. Yikes. And how was this possible? Well, bugs, on top of bugs, and more bugs. A bunch of double-dipping mechanics, uncapped scalers, and miscalculations. Usually Blizzard runs a PTR to test for these things, as they can't afford having actual play testers. This time, though, only a select few were invited to play the new expansion, and in turn, the Spiritborn. Either the ones playing the new class were reviewers or content creators, meaning they were either eating crayons and barely completed the campaign, or they were focusing on creating builds to make some bank. This in turn led to the shittiest balanced season to date, and 99% of players felt forced to play the Spiritborn as they'd otherwise just kicked out of groups for trolling. Not a great look. We did, however, get a lot of other features. We got the Undercity, where you slot a tribute and run for abducits or other materials, which is still a core part of the game, and fairly enjoyable in moderation. We got the Citadel, a co-op dungeon, which isn't really a grinding activity, but pleasant to run once or twice. We got Runes, which is also a core part of the game now, and while it could indeed use some improvements, it's still a decent feature. And of course, a new campaign, or well, an extension of the campaign. While I enjoyed it while doing it myself, it left people with a sour taste, as it didn't progress the story, and you could complete it within just an hour or two, making the people that played D4 as dogshit casuals feel robbed. The worst part about the expansion, though, was probably the seasonal mechanic. In case you forgot, you were supposed to follow this gaping asshole around for several minutes, kill his spawned farts, just to get materials that you absolutely needed to get more experience and loot. Despite this, though, yet another season I sunk disgusting amounts of hours in, mainly due to the Spiritborn being enjoyable. But taking all things into consideration, I'm giving it a C. Next up is Season 7, the Witchcrafting season. What did we get here? Well, we got a purple Helltide, which was great, I must admit. It had loads of activities that all funneled into the Whispers and some decent seasonal powers. We also got some decent balance changes, item changes, and the armory that we were asking for a long, long time. Overall, this season was good, but there's not a lot to say about this season. And why is that? Well, shit, it brought nothing new to the game. This is the season I feel like Blizz went into maintenance mode when it came to new seasons. Because as we'll see, not a whole lot has changed for nearly a year now, and it's not looking to either. The season itself is getting a B for kind of balls, but alright. There is nothing inherently wrong with the season. It was absolutely fine, and one of the better seasons out there, but it brought nothing new to the table. It was therefore the season I played the least out of all seasons up until this point. Introducing Season 8, the season where I've actually played the least, Because just like with Season 7, this season barely brought anything new to the table either, and this season was arguably worse than Season 7 as well, having less useful seasonal powers, a more generic green Helltide with less events and interesting mechanics. But that's alright, because the whole point of this season was to change up the boss farming ladder. We got 2 new bosses copy-pasted from the campaign. Bosses became harder and farming them more streamlined. Or well, not really. You're still sitting in a room, pressing a button to spawn bosses, one-shotting them, and repeat. And farming the boss materials for the 7th season is a row has become so tedious that every group I hop into have some people just swiping the boss materials. Not great. Other than that, the build meta didn't change either at this time. The same builds as Season 7, no real new content, and that's about it. Definitely a D for dogshit. And finally, my friends, introducing Season 9. We just recently finished the Season 9 PTR, so we know more or less how things are going to be, even though, and hopefully, we'll see some changes. So what's coming in the new season? Well, no new Helltide this time by the looks of it. Instead, we're venturing into nightmare dungeons where they've added new affixes, an escalation system, and a few new events. Basically the first time in a couple seasons where we're getting something new. Unfortunately though, which is the reason I'm certain that Diablo 4 is just in maintenance at this point, all of these changes were just bare minimum. We got a few affix changes, but they don't really change how we play the nightmare dungeons. The escalation wasn't really an escalation at all. It could be that Blizz just fucked up here, we are not sure. But there is no difficulty involved in the nightmare dungeons, making them the same as before. We also barely got any substantial balance changes, meaning you'll play the same builds as the last 2 seasons, apart from 2 new builds making an introduction. But there is a saving grace despite all of this, and that's the season is much better than Season 8, because that one sucked dick. And also, Blizz have 1 month of feedback to sift through and make some changes. I don't have high hopes here, but I do have some hopes. Overall, after the PTR, I'd give the new season a B for kinda balls. But this season definitely has the potential of achieving an A score, I feel like, if done correctly. And after this season is on its way, we should be getting expansion news in August during Gamescom, hopefully seeing some substantial changes like we did back in Season 4, 5, and 6. Seeing how bare-ass the latest couple of changes have been, they have to be working on something big. Or perhaps they've only been drinking titty milk and partying for the last year. Who the hell knows? Or what do you think, my beautiful bolded viewer? In any way, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.